Roosba, thank you again for your super chat, bro. Said, I'm worried we don't have the squad depth to deal with the number of games in the next 2 months. We have one number 6, one decent left back. Thoughts? I mean, let me just rewind back to the summer, my friend, where I was very, very, very outspoken about this lack of squad depth, and will continue to say the same thing. It will cost us. You're absolutely right. The lack of depth in that midfield area, the lack of centre-back options will cost us. The only question for us fans is, how much is it going to cost us? Is it going to be a case where it's a serious injury that costs us, or a little drop in form that costs us? But that lack of options, I absolutely believe will cost us, mate. And that's why I was so angry over the summer. That's why I was spitting fire on here all through the transfer window. And by the way, let me just say something. From a personal level, I actually lost friends and people that I was quite close to, or at least fond with, because of calling out the owners. I've had people who I've been in a friendly relationship with for years just blackball me because I've started calling out the owners around the lack of transfer money. And I don't understand it, because I think I'm doing what needs to be done, and I think I'm saying what needs to be said. I don't hate people for the sake of it. I don't go in on people for the sake of it. But again, like I said about United and Ten Hag, look at our owners in the transfer business and tell me that they're doing all they can do. I don't understand how anybody can look at that part of it and think that the owners aren't underinvesting in the squad. It's as clear as day to me, and I'll never understand it. You can absolutely say stuff like they haven't been the worst owners, and I've never said that they are. My gripe with them has always been the very same two things. The Super League, trying to sell us down the river and shaft us without any consultation to the manager, to the supporters, to the players, anything. Just woke up one day and were told, you're doing this tough shit. That didn't sit well with me. They weren't on their own doing that though. You know, you can look at United's owners, you can look at Arsenal's owners. Again, same conversation. But add that to the lack of transfer funds that they've backed the managers with compared to the clubs around us. And I don't even think it shouldn't be a debate that they need to be called out for it. They absolutely underinvest in the squad. 100%. And if people don't see that, I just wonder why. Like, why continually go to bat for these owners when the proof of the pudding is in the eating and they just haven't spent the money? David said, some people see the profit we make and haven't got us into debt, etc., and think that's good enough. None of them thinks will make us regular winners of the big things. Exactly. We didn't fall in love with the Moores family. We fell in love with Liverpool Football Club, not the previous owners. We didn't fall in love with Hicks and Gillette. You know, you didn't fall in love with football because of owners. You fell in love because of the coaches and the players and your fellow fans. And these owners have a history of coming in, having early success, and then underinvesting. Look at the Red Sox, look at Liverpool, and tell me I'm wrong. This is why I will continue to call them out, because I don't give a fuck if John W. Henry doesn't let me have an interview with a player or Klopp. I don't care. My job's to represent the fan base, and I think that they need to be called out on that. And I'm forever going to do it because it's my genuine, heartfelt opinion. It's shocking teams like West Ham and Brighton spending more money though. I know. That's what I keep saying. Like, here's my view of it, right? So we've got this group of owners who we're constantly being told are really good with commercial stuff, have moved Liverpool on leaps and bounds, have extended the two main stands, have brought in loads of new commercial partners, and we're constantly told about how clever they are from the financial side of it. But the question that we fans have is, when does that translate onto the pitch? When do we see Liverpool go out there and spend 200 or 300 million quid in a window? Net. That's the question. Because you can pat them on the back for all the other stuff, but unless us as fans are seeing this reflected on the pitch or with the calibre of signings, then what's the point? What's the point in hearing about the Nike deal or the extra revenue from match day tickets with the new stands, or the new commercial partnerships. All of that means diddly squat to us fans unless we see investment in the playing squad. And we made a profit this summer. We, with a new manager coming into the club, turned a profit in the transfer market. And we didn't turn a profit because we sold a player for tens of millions off elsewhere. We turned a profit because the cheap fucks wouldn't buy anyone. We tried to get a player in and it didn't work. And we did have no plan B, and there was no centre-back, and there was no rhyme or reason for it. And I don't get it. I don't get how that doesn't deserve to be called out by anyone, be it the biggest apologist of FSG or the most harsh critic of FSG. I think factually it's correct to look back and see our net spend has been pathetic compared to other clubs in and around us. 35, 40 million quid net spend on average. Not good enough for a club like Liverpool Football Club. Just won't spend, Craig. That's it. Say no more to say. Exactly. That's my point, you know. It's very frustrating when you finish second to City so many times, or you come up short against Real Madrid. And in your heart to heart as a fan, your mind immediately goes back to, what if we got this player in? Would the season have been different? That's, I guess, an unquantifiable question that we can't ever answer. But nobody can tell me that you don't look back at Kloppo's time and think we could have done one or two more trophies with a bit more investment in the squad. And that's an indictment of the owners for me. If you answer that question, yes, that's an indictment of the owners. FSG are good owners. They are solid owners, absolutely. They've done so many good things for the club. They have made sure we're on a very steady financial foothold. We're in no trouble or no worries with PSR, FFP, any of that kind of stuff. And that deserves credit. And getting Liverpool back to being a regular Champions League contributor and challenging for titles, they deserve credit for that. They brought in Jurgen Klopp. They deserve credit for that. But it doesn't mean that they get away with everything else. You know, if a player had 5 good seasons and then was having a shit season, we're going to say he's having a shit season. Why? Same with the owners. Every time we've spent big, it's pretty much outside of the Darwin deal because we've brought in a load of money. Again, you had our former goalkeeping coach himself come out and say that we wouldn't have signed Alisson if we signed Fekir because the money wouldn't have been there. Imagine we lose Trent, VVD, Salah. Money needed to even attempt to replace that talent will certainly not be there under these owners. I mean, I've said this a few times as well, and I agree with you. Even if we lost one of those 3, it's still a big undertaking to replace them. And that's before we still, if we lost Trent, you then have to go out there and bring in another right back. And that's before you address the other 2 areas of concern that we have, which is centre back and central midfield. So you're right. You know, if we do lose some of these guys, do we have faith that they're going to go out there to spend the money to replace them to a quality level? That next summer war chest must be close to $1 billion by now. What gets me is that people believe that shit every year. Oh, next summer. Oh, Liverpool are... The window won't have even closed and already the articles are being written by the FSG friendly sections of the media that will be talking about the big plans that we have for the future. And then the future comes around and you can pick any excuse you want and insert it in there and rinse and repeat and it's all the same again.